Hello, and welcome to another episode of Financial Fix with Sharnella. Today, we will be talking about household debt. Right now, the household debt in America is around $18 trillion. Yeah, you heard me right. 18 trillion. That is a lot of debt. Well, where is all that debt coming from? Well, first, there's credit card debt to the tune of $1.2 trillion. What are Americans spending all that money on? Using their credit cards for everything. Okay, I'll be honest. I use my credit cards every single day. But I use my credit cards responsibly because I never put anything on my credit card that I can't pay off any given day. And I use my credit card for regular purchases like food, gas, toiletries, anything that I need for the house. Even my utility bills, I put on my credit card. Why? Because I earn points on my credit card. But at the end of the month, that credit card is paid off. But where we're going wrong as a society is that we're using our credit cards to cover everyday expenses as well as all of our online shopping and other irresponsible things that we shouldn't be spending our money on that we really can't afford, electronics. So anything you want, you name it, dining out. But then we also, again, use our credit cards for things that we absolutely have to have, like food and gas for our vehicles and other essentials. But the problem is Americans aren't paying off that debt at the end of the month. That debt is just rolling over month after month, year after year at these high interest rates, somewhere between 15 and 25%. Is the average going interest rate on a credit card. So this is devastating to the financial health of Americans. That was number one. Now, number two, the next thing that Americans are in debt with is car loans to the tune of $1.66 trillion in debt for the vehicles. Vehicles today, the costs have just skyrocketed for a brand new vehicle, and even some used vehicles. For a time there, I think the used vehicles were almost as expensive as the new vehicles. But overall, the prices overall, inflation is just kicking us in the teeth. And the interest rates, if you have a pretty good credit score, interest rates on car insurance or the car notes are about 5 or 6%. Lately in 2025, I have seen 0% offers on brand new vehicles. They offer you 0% interest financing for 60 months, and sometimes I even see 63 months, and I think, my God, by the time you finish paying this car off, it's old and now it's time to start repairing it. So you never stop paying. As soon as your car note is over, then now the vehicle is in the shop and you're paying to have the vehicle repaired. And so in most cases, people think, oh, might as well just go buy another vehicle. But then the cycle never changes. By the time you spend 60 months paying off one vehicle and then it's like 5 years old, then you're going to go buy another vehicle and put yourself back in debt all over again. How do we eliminate that cycle of debt? From my perspective, you should buy a used vehicle, but not just any used vehicle. You should investigate and find out which vehicles have the highest quality value. The vehicles that are, and sad to say, but a lot of our foreign vehicles, they're more reliable than the American vehicles in some cases, but not always. So before you buy a vehicle, first check to see what the reliability is of that vehicle. And in my opinion, I would buy a vehicle that's about 2 to 3 years old. And whenever possible, pay cash. But if you can't pay cash, the moment that vehicle is paid off, you do not go buy another vehicle. In the long term, if you purchase a quality vehicle today, you're typically not going to have to service it again and again and again in the next few years after purchasing it. You do have to maintain your vehicle, get the oil changes and get the the spark plugs done, whatever. You guys who are in maintenance, you know what to do with that. For me, I just take my car to the shop and I say, okay, it's time for its regular maintenance, checkups, everything. Just do what you got to do just to keep my vehicle rolling. So again, going back to this, it's $1.66 trillion. Some of you out there are paying $1,000 or more per month for a vehicle. That is insane. That is a huge, huge investment. That's the same as a house note. That is why some of you out there can't pay your credit card bills off every month. That's why some of you out there can't save and invest for a better future, because you got yourself so wrapped up and so wound up in all of these expenses today. Why don't we, instead of buying what we can't afford, stick within the box that we're in today? Buy what you can afford today. And as you improve upon your income and then your lifestyle will improve. But first, improve upon your income to the point where if you want, you can go pay cash for that vehicle. But again, I do not recommend brand new. Buy 2 to 3 years used, and I think you'll find the most value for your money. The next debt that's staggering is student loan debt. $1.62 trillion in student loan debt. Now, for the most part, in order to elevate yourself, you have to educate yourself. So student loan debt, and in some cases, student loan debt is tax deductible. You would have to talk to your accountant about that, as I am not an accountant. But some student loan debt, the interest that you pay on that can be tax deductible. So look into it. So student loan debt is a necessary debt, is unavoidable in most situations, because in order to improve yourself, sometimes you have to invest thousands of dollars into yourself, invest in whatever it is you endeavor to do in this life. So it's going to cost money. So don't beat yourself up too bad if you have student loan debt. The thing is, get it paid off as quickly as possible so that you can, move on with your life and have a healthier financial future. So the next debt we're going to talk about is mortgage. So the biggest debt that Americans have today, the biggest household debt, and it's about 70% of all the debt right now, it's the mortgage. Mortgage debt in America is somewhere around $12.6 trillion. And I'm not going to balk about that too much, other than to say buy within your means, because there's a lot of people who buy more house than they can afford. And even with 2 people working in the household, they're barely paying their bills, they're struggling, and they have to work overtime. That's absolute nonsense. What I recommend is that you buy a house. If there's 2 of you, you buy a house that one of you can afford on one income, so that the other person's income can be used to elevate the household, elevate if you need additional education, or if you want to start a business, or if you want to save and invest. That's what the second income should be used for. If you are a single person, buy well below your means, because you want to put yourself in a position where you have the opportunity to save every month and invest for your future. The other reason that having a mortgage isn't always terrible is the fact that it's tax deductible. So having a tax deductible expense is not as bad as other expenses that aren't tax deductible, such as the interest you pay on car loans and the interest that you pay on credit card debt and personal loans. So if you have a mortgage out there, that's not always that bad. Again, as long as the home is affordable. Now, if you've bought a home that is unaffordable, you may want to reconsider selling that home if you have enough equity in that home, and then downsizing to a home that is more affordable. If you don't have the equity in the home, then you're going to have to ride out the storm, and you're going to have to find a way to earn more money while you are in the position that you're currently in, to help move you into a better position in the near future. No matter what circumstance or situation that you're in, you always want to have or make room for saving. Saving is so important. Having a nest egg for when something happens in life that's unexpected. You don't have to run to the credit card to put it on a credit card. You want to have that extra money in the bank that's sitting waiting to take care of you in the event of an emergency. Like and subscribe to Financial Fix with Sharnella if you've been enjoying my content. I really do enjoy bringing the useful information to you that you want to hear. So in the comment section, why don't you let me know what you'd like for me to speak about next? In the meantime, I'll see you on the next episode.